Why are you helping Irongron?
My dear girl, I'm not helping him. Linx is. I'm trying to stop him.
YouTube, and welcome to episode 34 of my Doctor Who action figure reviews. Before I get started, I'd just like to apologise for the long gap between my last review and this one, but I have been busy with another filming project which if you've been following my channel you'll know all about, and that's just been taking up a lot of time. Basically me and my brother trying to do a job that requires about 5 people, but there's only 2 of us. So in today's review, we are looking at the Time Warrior set based on the story of the Time Warrior. This is a very, very good set. I love this set. I've been meaning to get around to it for a while, but I've kept putting it back because other things have come out which I've needed to review then and there. So this set is one of 2 of the Sontaran sets that came with Scout ships. The first one was the Sontaran Experiment set, which I did not buy because it came with a 4th Doctor that is completely wrong. It's the variant with the duffel coat and the red cravat that he never wore. So I knew that that was going to be released again, and I knew that the ship was going to be released again with Linx, who was my favourite Sontaran. So I held back and waited till the Time Warrior set came out and bought that from Forbidden Planet. So this set features, as you can see, a 3rd Doctor from the story of the Time Warrior, Commander Linx, or Django Linx if you're a fan of the novelisation, and of course the Sontaran Scout ship from that story. So to start with, I'll begin with the 3rd Doctor, as there isn't too much to say about this figure. Essentially, this is the 3rd Doctor as seen in the Carnival of Monsters from the 11 Doctors set. It's the same figure, essentially just without the cloak. He's wearing the same green velvet jacket as he wore in Carnival of Monsters. However, this time there have been some changes to the figure. Mainly, he has now got a big black dicky bow, as opposed to the cravat, and the shirt, which was a pale turquoisey blue, is now completely white. It's very, very nice. It's a very vibrant white with the white buttons sculpted on very nicely, and the frills of the shirt, of course, and the dicky bow is all matte black. But other than that, this figure is not too different to the others. Same articulation. The head suffers from the same affliction as the other John Pertwee figures. It doesn't really want to move. You can get it to move left to right slightly, but not too much. So that's mainly because of the hair. So that's still a problem, but I don't think they'll ever fix it on these figures, but it's not too big of a problem. Again, this comes with his sonic screwdriver, the screwdriver with the yellow section with the spring, as you can see there, very, very nice. But other than that, a standard 3rd Doctor. The only major difference being, if we look at his legs, you can see they have a substantial amount of mud on his trousers and his shoes. Now, this is okay, and it makes it a little bit different to other variants. However, I do not recall in the Time Warrior him having this much mud on his shoes and trousers. It looks like they've just painted the brown paint, put the brown paint over the trousers, and it's a very excessive amount of mud considering he doesn't roll around in it that much in the story. So that's the 3rd Doctor, a nice variant, another welcome variant to the Pertwee line. Always glad to see more of the 3rd Doctor, as he is very good. So the next figure to look at is, of course, the figure that people have probably been waiting for quite a while when this set came out. The man himself, Commander Linx from the 5th Sontaran Battle Group. Now, I absolutely love this figure. It is absolutely fantastic. The detail on this is one of the best that Character Options have ever done. I'll just remove his helmet for a moment so I can show you the articulation. But essentially, what we have is his arms can do a 360. They aren't hindered by his neck brace. The head does not move inside here, but then again it is a mask, so it didn't move then. He had to turn with his body. I believe the actor's name was Kevin Lindsay. His hands can do a 360 as well, and he also has bicep articulation, but it will be hindered by his very large torso, so don't turn that too much or otherwise the arms will come off. His legs can go forward and backward and out to the side on a T-joint crotch piece. They have thigh articulation. Mine doesn't really want to move. I've tried to get this moving before, but it's very stiff and I don't want to break it. The knees can bend, slightly hindered by the knee pad armour that he has, but that's alright. And there isn't any thigh ankle articulation on this figure. Sorry about that. So detail wise, well, like I've already said, this figure is absolutely fantastic. I'll just begin with the face, as it's the face that's the most impressive thing about this figure. If you look at that, it is spot on to the Sontaran in the story. It looks just like Commander Linx. It looks really, really good. They've captured the on-screen mask and the face of the actor brilliantly in this sculpt. Essentially what we have is the dark brown skin painted on, as you can see, in that dark brown wash with some other washes to go over it. You have a lot of nice additions with the sculpt. You have the creases of his face and his forehead. You have the slit where the mouthpiece was with the tongue sticking out, which is one of the images that this Sontaran is famous for, the bit with the tongue poking out every so often. The eyes are very, very good as well. A lot of wrinkles around them and then darker washes to highlight those wrinkles. The rather large nose. And if you look all over the head, you'll see sculpts of the hair, the bits of tufts of hair he had on this mask. This is the only Sontaran that really had hair on this part of his head. The rest didn't. And if you look very, very closely, you can actually see the veins on his head, where his temples are, which are very, very good. It makes this seem more like an actual monster than just a mask. And of course you have the beard and eyebrows painted in a grey wash like the tufts of hair. Now, depending on which set you picked up, whether you picked it up yourself or ordered it online, you may get a good Sontaran with good paint applications to the eyebrows and beard, or you may not. I was actually lucky as I picked this one up myself, and the grey isn't that obvious, but if you look at some other sets, it is very, very vibrant. He's got very thick grey eyebrows and a very vibrant beard. So you may want to go into the store and pick the set yourself, as they do come packaged with the helmet off, so you can choose for yourself. So that's the face sculpt, very, very nice. Of course, you have the neck piece here, which is sculpted in silver with the rim here, and on the back you have the probate vent, which all Sontarans have. Very, very nice. The suit is very, very nice as well. It's like black with a silvery gloss wash over it, and there's a lot of creases in this. It's very, very nice, and the zip on the front. All Sontarans had this suit in the classic series until they became a lot smaller and adopted the blue look of the new series. You have these little grooves and lines going down the whole suit, and there's more creases on the back, as you can see. It's very, very nice. And the good thing is it's nice and chunky. I think they got the proportions very well on this figure, so it does look like it's a short, stocky Sontaran, and it does look like a warrior. You have the shoulder and elbow pad. You have the elbow pads sculpted in silver, which are attached to the joints, as you can see by this black dot here. They have got the groove on them as well, and they've been painted in a like a sort of matte silver. You have the belt with the different textures on it, which is very, very nice. The different liney patterns. This has been sculpted onto the actual suit, as you can see, very, very nice. And of course you have the device that Linx uses to talk in an in English in the Time Warrior. It is used for other things in other stories, but that's the use of it in this story. I have heard rumours that this is removable, however I do believe it's glued on, so do not try and remove this, as if you do remove it, you may never get it back on again. And the legs are very, very nicely sculpted as well. It's a continuation of the suit with the knee pad armour, as you can see, and then these boots here, which are just ordinary sort of John Pertwee style boots with silver paint at the bottom, which is how they were in the story. The only other thing to note with the sculpt is, of course, there is a section of the leg which is a piece that's clipped in, which is to hold the Sontaran wand weapon, which is a bit fiddly. So if I just take his wand weapon, it can go in. It may take a while or a few attempts, but as you can see, it just slides in there like that. But of course, if you're going to display this figure, you'll probably want it displayed with him holding it in his hand. Now, to do this, all you have to do is click it straight into in between his two fingers, which leads me on to the hands. As you can see, the three-fingered version, Steyr of the Sontaran Experiment, has a human-style hand. This is paint, but these have three fingers. Very, very nicely sculpted, and you can of course fit the wand weapon inside, which is always good. They could do a version with Linx's gloves on if they ever decide to re-release Linx in the future. Let's hope they do. And now I'll talk about the accessories. Here is the wand weapon, which Sontarans use. Linx uses these, and the Sontarans from Invasion of Time use these as well, and of course in the Two Doctors. This is basically a rubbery piece of black plastic with the two bits here sculpted on, the handle there, a silver section, and the long black section, and there is a little bit of bronzy gold paint there before the final end bit of the weapon. There is a bit of white paint on here. You can't see it very well on this camera, I do apologise. Now I'm not sure whether this end is meant to be white or silver, and whether that white bit is just a painting error. So if you do know that, please let me know. And as I just showed you, you can just slot this in here, and Linx is ready to shoot Irongron's sword out of his hand. The Sontaran helmet, which is brilliantly sculpted, as you can see. You've got the rim at the top of the helmet. This is one big rounded piece in a chrome metal finish. Well, not chrome, in a metal, but a matte metal silver finish. And you have the insignia, which is the most impressive part of this helmet. Sorry if I can just get this to focus. There we go. You can just see there the insignia made up of the multiple dots poked into it, the holes, which is very, very good. And of course, they've gone with this figure, they've gone to the extra detail of putting some mesh over the eye sections, which is sculpted very, very nice. You can see the little details of the mesh in the sculpt. Now I'm not sure, but I think the original helmet did not have the mesh in it, as in some scenes you can clearly see Linx's eyes through the mask. And now to put this mask on, all you do is you may need to pinch it by squeezing it a tiny bit, and it just clicks on like that. And of course you have Commander Linx as he looks at the beginning when he steps out of the Sontaran Scout ship, and I just think that looks so cool to have the helmet on. He looks very impressive, and of course you can always take the helmet off, position Linx like so, and have his more warrior style pose of him holding the helmet like that, which is how I prefer to hold it. So that's Commander Linx, very nice figure. Standing on his own makes this set worthwhile, so a very, very good figure. So the last thing to look at to close this review is, of course, the very, very large Sontaran Scout ship. Now, the Scout ship is essentially one giant piece of spherical plastic. It's hollow on the inside, I believe, but it is very, very hard, as you can hear. But it's hit it like that. It is a very solid piece of silver plastic. Essentially one big orb, which I can't even fit on the camera. As you can see, it is very, very large. And this is a very, very nice little extra, which also came with Steyr in the Sontaran Experiment set. And essentially, the detail-wise, you have a completely silver finish with a dirty wash over it. Like, this is meant to be the mud in the forest. And you have the circle here, and then the pattern going outwards with the diamond shapes getting larger as you go down the scout ship. And at the bottom you can see more mud, and on the front of the doors and at the sides. Now this mud effect is nice, but the fact that it goes out from the middle, sort of like a plus sign, it goes from the top and goes down like that, it kind of makes it look obviously manufactured weathered. But I can live with that, as it's not too obvious, and the fact that it's just been sprayed rather than straight lines like the special weapon style it was, it's kind of more forgivable. So the other features are essentially the underpart. They've taken some artistic license. They've given this black rim, and then they've put 4 accelerators here and done the sort of rockets for the ship with some wires here done in a bronzy colour, with a rusty bronze colour, and some black over the top, and these 4 little jets here, and then you have this venting all around the bottom as well, which is very, very nice. This part you can sort of press the air out of a little bit, just be careful doing that, but very, very nice. The only gripe I have with this is that when you open the door, you just get that. Now, I don't blame them for just putting in a chair and whatever that grey bit's meant to be, probably a screen, but they could have done a lot better, if I'm honest. The interior of the ship is full of buttons and full of different controls, and they could have even used a sticker just to stick on here with a screen grab from the Time Warrior. Now that would have been easy to do. I'm sure there's people who could customize that with this and it'd make it better. However, this is the situation we had with the Sontaran Experiment set as well, so they're not going to change it from that one to this one, so we have to kind of live with that. One good thing is the door, which is in the correct red. Compared to the Sontaran Experiment set, you can't really see the numbering as obvious and this BBC stuff that you could on the Sontaran Experiment set, because that one was green with the 4 yellow diamonds on it. So it's a lot better to have the red, but why they couldn't just put that somewhere else, like on the black where it would be less obvious, I don't know. But like I said, this interior, a bit disappointing, more like a Portaloo than an actual Sontaran ship. But I don't think many people will be displaying these open anyway. The only other thing to note is, if it was accurate to the story, this door would open the other way. However, you would have had to completely retool this. This would have to be on this side with a hinge on this side, and they're not going to go to a completely brand new sculpt just for one set. So I can understand them not doing that. So that's the Sontaran Scout ship. Not too much to say. Very, very nice to have, as we don't usually get spaceships and vehicles with action figure sets in the Doctor Who range anyway. So it's just nice to have that little extra figure to go with this very nice set. So final thoughts on this set. Go out and buy it. It's a fantastic set. The Time Warrior is an excellent story, and these are 3 very, very nice miniatures from that story. You get a variant of the 3rd Doctor that is a little bit different to other releases. One thing to note, the jacket is the correct sculpt, as it isn't correct on the others, but of course it's the same jacket as on Carnival of Monsters. You get the mud on his trousers if that's an addition, an extra reason for you to buy it. You get another Pertwee if you don't have one. And of course you get Linx, who alone sells this set to me. Linx is a fantastic figure. Out of all the Sontarans they've released, this was the one I wanted. This is probably the most famous Sontaran, not like these new ones with Strax. This is how Sontarans are meant to be. They're not meant to be silly. They're meant to be warriors. And if you didn't get the Sontaran Experiment set, you can get a scout ship as well. And the scout ship is a nice little bonus, as like I said, you don't get many vehicles in these sets. There was rumours of a Bessie, that hasn't surfaced yet. So definitely get this set. It costs about £40 I believe from Forbidden Planet. It may be a bit cheaper now, as this was released a number of years ago. If you're local, it's Forbidden Planet Hanley. And out of the 2 scout ship sets, this is the better one. You get the better Sontaran, the better Doctor variant. and you of course get the scout ship. So thank you for watching this review, guys. Apologies once again for the long gap between the two. Hopefully it won't be as long a gap between this one and the next one, whatever that may be. I haven't decided yet. It may possibly be a 60s themed one with the early Daleks, as I haven't reviewed any of the 60s Daleks yet, so possibly the Chase set, or maybe even the Enemies of the Third Doctor box set, which I also haven't done. So thank you for watching this review, guys. Please feel free to check out Batman March's blog for more information on this figure set, and of course his own review of this set. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next Doctor Who action figure review.